At the annual Hammond family reunion, my husband casually dropped a bombshell that would obliterate everything I thought I knew about our life together. He had systematically emptied our joint savings account of $200,000. In that single, excruciating moment, surrounded by unsuspecting relatives, I realized the man I had trusted completely had been living a life of calculated deception that would unravel our entire marriage. Rachel Sinclair's life had always been about careful planning and measured expectations. Growing up in the quiet suburban landscape of Greenville, Oregon, she had been taught the value of stability, hard work, and maintaining appearances. Her parents, both high school teachers, had instilled in her a sense of financial prudence that seemed almost genetic. Every summer vacation was meticulously budgeted, every school expense carefully calculated, and every family decision was made with long-term consequences in mind. When she met Derek Hammond during her final year at Portland State University, he seemed like the perfect complement to her methodical approach to life. Tall, charismatic, and working as a rising sales executive at a prominent tech company, Derek represented everything Rachel had dreamed of: success, ambition, and a promise of a comfortable future. Their courtship was traditional, a careful progression from dating to engagement, meticulously planned wedding, and then marriage. The early years of their marriage were everything Rachel had imagined. Derek's sales career was taking off, and she had secured a stable position as a middle school counselor. They bought a modest craftsman-style home in the outskirts of Portland, invested consistently in their retirement accounts, and seemed to be the epitome of a successful young professional couple. Their financial strategy was collaborative. Derek handled the investment decisions, while Rachel managed their day-to-day budgeting and expenses. What Rachel didn't realize was the subtle erosion of her financial independence happening right beneath her eyes. Derek gradually took more control over their joint finances, slowly pushing her out of financial discussions. What began as helpful guidance transformed into complete financial management. He would casually dismiss her questions about their investment portfolio, using technical jargon that made her feel inadequate and uninformed. Their decision not to have children was mutual, or so Rachel believed. In reality, Derek was strategically controlling every aspect of their life, including their family planning. He would discuss their joint decision with such conviction that Rachel never questioned the underlying dynamics. Her work as a school counselor, helping children navigate complex emotional landscapes, ironically blinded her to the manipulation happening in her own home. The first subtle signs of trouble emerged incrementally. Small, unexplained expenses began appearing on their joint credit card statements. Mysterious business trips that seemed to increase in frequency, always accompanied by vague explanations about networking and potential client meetings. Derek's stories were crafted with such precision that they seemed completely plausible, a testament to his professional skills in persuasion. Rachel's intuition would occasionally signal that something wasn't right. During quiet moments, when she would review their financial documents, she would notice slight irregularities, transfers between accounts that seemed unnecessary, investment decisions that appeared increasingly risky. But Derek always had a ready explanation, delivered with such confidence that her momentary doubts would dissipate. Their social circle viewed them as the perfect couple. Derek was charming at dinner parties. Rachel was warm and engaging. They hosted annual barbecues at their Portland home, entertained Derek's colleagues, and seemed to represent the ideal of modern professional partnership. No one, not even Rachel's closest friends, suspected the financial manipulation that was slowly but surely unfolding. The family reunions, which had always been jovial affairs filled with laughter and shared memories, became Derek's preferred stage for maintaining their carefully constructed narrative. He would regale relatives with stories of their successful life, strategic investments, and promising future. Rachel would smile, nodding in agreement, while an increasing sense of disconnection grew within her. Little did she know that beneath this carefully maintained facade, Derek was executing a calculated plan that would soon expose the true nature of their relationship. The family reunion would become the pivotal moment where years of calculated deception would dramatically unravel, forcing Rachel to confront a reality she had been systematically prevented from seeing. As the day of the fateful family reunion approached, Rachel remained blissfully unaware of the financial and emotional tsunami that was about to reshape her entire existence. The meticulous life she had built, the trust she had invested so completely in her marriage was about to be challenged in ways she could never have anticipated. The transformation of Rachel and Derek's relationship was not sudden, but a calculated progression that unfolded with surgical precision. Their courtship had begun with Derek presenting himself as a collaborative partner, someone who valued Rachel's input and perspective. However, as the years passed, this facade gradually eroded, replaced by a more insidious form of control. Derek's professional success in tech sales provided the perfect cover for his financial manipulations. His job required frequent travel, complex financial discussions, and a level of professional secrecy that he expertly leveraged to create distance and obscure his true actions. Quarterly bonuses, stock options, and investment opportunities became his exclusive domain, with Rachel gradually pushed to the periphery of their financial decision-making. The process was subtle and deliberate. It started with small gestures of protection. "Let me handle the complex stuff," Derek would say, his hand gently touching Rachel's shoulder. "You're so good with our day-to-day budgeting. I'll manage the long-term investments." These seemingly supportive statements masked a calculated strategy of financial isolation. Rachel's career as a school counselor, while stable and meaningful, positioned her as the lower-earning partner. Derek consistently emphasized this disparity, not through direct criticism, but through carefully constructed conversational dynamics. He would discuss his potential bonuses and stock options with an air of complexity that made Rachel feel out of her depth. Professional jargon became a weapon of intellectual intimidation. Their social circle reinforced these dynamics. At dinner, parties, and professional gatherings, Derek would dominate financial conversations. He'd speak eloquently about investment strategies, market trends, and potential opportunities. Rachel would smile and nod, gradually internalizing a sense of financial inadequacy. Friends and colleagues perceived them as a power couple, with Derek as the financial mastermind and Rachel as the supportive, emotionally intelligent partner. Subtle psychological tactics became Derek's primary method of maintaining control. He would create scenarios that positioned Rachel as financially naive. When unexpected expenses arose, he'd handle them with a mixture of condescension and false heroism. "Don't worry about it," he'd say, effectively infantilizing her financial understanding. Each intervention chipped away at her confidence and economic independence. Their home reflected this dynamic of controlled partnership. Derek managed their investments, retirement accounts, and major purchases. Rachel was responsible for household expenses, groceries, and maintaining their social calendar. This division of labor appeared equitable on the surface but concealed a more profound imbalance of financial power. Technology became Derek's most powerful tool of manipulation. He managed all their online banking, investment platforms, and financial applications. Passwords were known only to him, email notifications were routed to his personal accounts, and financial statements were accessed exclusively through his devices. Rachel had no direct visibility into their true financial landscape. Occasional attempts by Rachel to understand their financial status were met with a combination of technical deflection and emotional manipulation. Derek would launch into complex explanations about investment strategies, mutual funds, and market volatility. These conversations were deliberately convoluted, designed to make Rachel feel overwhelmed and intellectually inferior. The most insidious aspect of Derek's control was its psychological sophistication. He didn't just manage their finances, he systematically dismantled Rachel's financial confidence. Professional development opportunities were subtly discouraged. When Rachel expressed interest in advancing her counseling career or pursuing additional certifications, Derek would highlight the financial risks, the time commitment, the potential disruption to their established lifestyle. Their decision to remain childless, which Rachel had believed was a mutual choice, was another calculated strategy. Without the financial complexities of child-rearing, Derek could maintain tighter control over their economic resources. Each financial decision became a testament to their supposed shared vision, when in reality, it was a carefully constructed illusion of partnership. Family reunions became Derek's performance stage. He would regale relatives with stories of their financial prudence, strategic investments, and shared goals. Rachel would sit beside him, her smile carefully maintained, while internally feeling increasingly disconnected from the narrative being constructed. Unbeknownst to Rachel, Derek was methodically preparing for a financial extraction that would fundamentally alter their relationship. Each seemingly innocuous financial decision, each controlled conversation, each subtle psychological intervention was a calculated step toward the moment of ultimate betrayal. The family reunion would become the stage where years of calculated manipulation would dramatically and irrevocably unravel, exposing the true nature of their financial and emotional relationship. Rachel stood at the precipice of a revelation that would challenge everything she thought she knew about trust, partnership, and her own sense of self-worth. The erosion of Rachel's professional confidence paralleled the financial control emerging in her personal life. As a school counselor at Evergreen Middle School, she had always prided herself on her ability to guide students through complex emotional landscapes. Yet, the very skills that made her exceptional in her professional role seemed to desert her in her personal life. Her workplace became an increasingly challenging environment. Budget cuts and administrative restructuring created additional stress, compounding the psychological strain of her deteriorating marriage. The school district had been implementing significant changes, with reduced funding for counseling services and increased administrative oversight. Rachel found herself navigating a professional landscape that demanded more while providing fewer resources. Derek's influence began to seep into her professional world in subtle yet profound ways. When professional development opportunities arose, he would strategically discourage her participation. A potential leadership workshop would be met with concerns about financial implications. An invitation to speak at a regional counseling conference would be dismissed as a potential disruption to their carefully constructed lifestyle. The psychological toll became increasingly apparent. Rachel's typically robust emotional resilience began to erode. Students who once found comfort in her guidance now encountered a more reserved, less engaged counselor. Her colleagues noticed the change, subtle shifts in her demeanor, a hesitancy in her professional interactions that hadn't existed before. Professional networking, once a source of joy and professional growth, became a minefield of anxiety. Derek's control extended to her professional relationships. He would strategically insert himself into conversations about her career, offering unsolicited advice that subtly undermined her professional credibility. At faculty gatherings and school events, his presence became a form of indirect supervision. Financial constraints became an increasingly significant professional challenge. The school's limited resources meant that Rachel often used her personal funds to support students in need. Counseling materials, additional resources for struggling families, and support programs frequently came out of her own pocket. Derek's financial control made these personal contributions increasingly difficult. The school's administration began to take notice of the changes in Rachel's professional performance. Performance reviews that had once been stellar now contained subtle notes of concern. Her typically comprehensive approach to student support showed signs of strain. Administrators attributed these changes to systemic pressures, unaware of the personal turmoil underlying her professional transformation. Technology played a significant role in Derek's systematic control. He monitored her professional communications, subtly influencing her email correspondence, professional networking, and career communications. Work-related text messages and emails were routinely screened, creating an invisible barrier to her professional autonomy. Rachel's professional network, once a robust support system, began to fracture. Longtime colleagues noticed her increasing isolation. Professional friendships that had been vibrant and supportive became increasingly distant. Derek's strategic interventions created wedges in her professional relationships, isolating her both personally and professionally. The psychological impact of this systematic control manifested in multiple dimensions. Rachel's typically confident approach to student counseling became more guarded. Her ability to provide comprehensive emotional support to students began to suffer. The very skills that had made her an exceptional counselor were being systematically undermined by the constant psychological pressure at home. Financial limitations created additional professional challenges. Professional development opportunities became increasingly out of reach. Certifications, advanced training, and potential career advancements were strategically discouraged by Derek, who positioned these opportunities as financial risks rather than professional growth. Workplace dynamics became a microcosm of her broader personal challenges. The same skills of observation and emotional intelligence that made her an exceptional counselor were simultaneously being diminished in her personal life. Each professional interaction became a delicate negotiation of her increasingly fragmented sense of self. The upcoming family reunion represented more than a simple social gathering. It was the potential inflection point where years of carefully constructed facades would potentially crumble. Rachel stood at the precipice of a professional and personal revelation that would challenge everything she understood about her identity, her relationships, and her future. As the date of the reunion approached, Rachel was unaware of the dramatic financial revelation that would soon dramatically alter her understanding of her marriage, her professional trajectory, and her entire life's narrative. The systematic erosion of her personal and professional autonomy had created the perfect conditions for a devastating confrontation that would force her to reimagine her entire existence. The Hammond family reunions had always been meticulously orchestrated affairs, held annually at the expansive lakeside property owned by Derek's parents in the rural outskirts of Eugene, Oregon. Generations of the Hammond clan would converge, a carefully curated display of familial unity that masked the complex undercurrents running beneath the surface. This year's gathering followed the traditional pattern. Extended family members arrived in a steady stream of luxury SUVs and well-maintained sedans. Cousins, aunts, uncles, and distant relatives navigated the manicured grounds, exchanging carefully rehearsed pleasantries and maintaining the family's carefully cultivated image of success and stability. Rachel had perfected the art of navigating these gatherings. Her role was primarily supportive, providing conversational lubricant and maintaining the social facade that Derek demanded. She moved between conversation groups with practiced ease, offering sympathetic ears and measured responses, all while feeling increasingly disconnected from the performative nature of the event. The day progressed with its usual rhythm. Afternoon barbecue, family photographs, discussions of professional achievements, and subtle competitive undertones. Derek was in his element, holding court with his relatives, regaling them with stories of professional success and strategic financial planning. Rachel observed from the periphery, a carefully maintained smile masking her growing internal discomfort. It was during the late afternoon, as golden sunlight filtered through the massive windows of the Hammond family's lake house, that everything changed. The family had gathered in the main living area, a space that seemed designed to showcase the family's prosperity. Expensive artwork adorned the walls, family photographs chronicled generations of Hammond achievements, and floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the pristine Oregon landscape. Derek chose this moment with calculated precision. The room was filled with relatives, creating maximum impact for his revelation. Rachel was seated near the fireplace, a glass of white wine in hand, when Derek stood up and tapped his crystal tumbler with a silver spoon, a gesture that immediately drew everyone's attention. "I have an announcement," Derek began, his voice carrying the same professional confidence he used in boardroom presentations. "Rachel and I have made some significant financial decisions that will change our future." The room fell silent. Rachel felt a sudden, inexplicable sense of dread. Something in Derek's tone was different, a slight edge that she had never heard before. "Our joint savings account," Derek continued, "has been completely liquidated. I've made some strategic investments that I believe will secure our long-term financial future." For a moment, the statement hung in the air. Rachel's mind struggled to process the words. Liquidated. Completely. The implications began to crash over her like waves. Her father-in-law, Richard Hammond, a retired investment banker, leaned forward. "How much are we talking about, Derek?" $200,000, Derek stated matter-of-factly, as if discussing a routine financial transaction. The room erupted. Aunt Margaret gasped. Uncle Thomas leaned in, seeking clarification. Cousins exchanged bewildered glances. But Rachel heard nothing. The world seemed to narrow to a single point. The man she had trusted completely, who had systematically controlled every aspect of their financial life, had just announced the complete decimation of their joint savings. Her brother-in-law, Michael, was the first to voice what others were thinking. Without consulting Rachel, without discussing it with the family, Derek's response was chillingly calm. It was a strategic decision. Sometimes financial opportunities require immediate action. Rachel's professional training as a counselor kicked in, providing a thin veneer of composure. But internally, she was fracturing. Years of subtle manipulations, of being gradually pushed out of financial conversations, of trusting her husband completely, it all crystallized in this moment. The family reunion, typically a showcase of Hammond family unity, had become the stage for a devastating personal revelation. Rachel realized she was not just witnessing a financial decision, but the complete unraveling of her understanding of marriage, trust, and partnership. As relatives continued their heated discussions, Rachel sat in stunned silence. The carefully constructed narrative of her life was disintegrating before her eyes. The family reunion had transformed from a routine gathering into the moment that would define the next chapter of her existence. Derek's announcement was more than a financial revelation. It was the culmination of years of systematic control, a public declaration of his ultimate betrayal. And Rachel knew, with absolute certainty, that nothing would ever be the same again. The Hammond family reunion dissolved into a maelstrom of tension and whispered conversations following Derek's announcement. What had begun as a carefully choreographed family gathering now resembled a fractured battlefield of conflicting loyalties and suppressed emotions. Rachel found herself simultaneously the center of attention and completely invisible. Relatives moved around her with a mixture of pity, confusion, and barely concealed judgment. Her mother-in-law, Elena Hammond, was the first to break the initial shock, her voice cutting through the murmured conversations with surgical precision. "Perhaps we should discuss this privately," Elena said, her eyes darting between Derek and Rachel. The statement was less a suggestion and more a thinly veiled command, typical of the Hammond family's approach to potential controversies. The family's reaction was a complex tapestry of responses. Uncle Thomas, a retired corporate lawyer, began asking pointed questions about investment strategies and legal implications. Aunt Margaret watched with a combination of fascination and barely concealed horror. Cousins exchanged furtive glances, smartphones subtly emerging to document the unfolding drama. Derek remained unnervingly calm. His professional demeanor, honed through years of high-stakes sales presentations, served him well in this moment of personal crisis. He fielded questions with the same measured responses he might use in a board meeting, deflecting personal inquiries with technical financial jargon. Rachel's brother-in-law, Michael, emerged as an unexpected ally. A forensic accountant by profession, he began asking increasingly pointed questions about the financial transaction. $200,000 doesn't just disappear, Michael observed, his professional skepticism rising to the surface. The lakeside property, typically a symbol of family unity, now felt like a pressure cooker of unspoken tensions. Generations of Hammond family dynamics, the carefully maintained facades, the unspoken rules, the intricate power structures, were being dismantled in real time. Elena Hammond's intervention was swift and calculated. "This is a family matter," she announced, her tone brooking no argument. "We'll handle this internally." The statement was both a command and a warning, a glimpse into the family's long-standing method of managing potential scandals. Rachel found herself in an impossible position. Years of psychological conditioning had prepared her for exactly this type of family negotiation: to remain silent, to maintain composure, to prioritize family appearance over personal truth. Yet something fundamental had shifted during the reunion. Her professional training as a school counselor provided an unexpected source of strength. Years of helping students navigate complex emotional landscapes had given her tools to remain composed under pressure. She observed the family dynamics with a newfound clarity, recognizing manipulation techniques she had previously overlooked. Michael's continued questioning revealed the first cracks in Derek's carefully constructed narrative. These weren't standard investment procedures, he noted, comparing the financial transaction to his professional understanding of legitimate investment strategies. "This looks more like a unilateral financial extraction." The family dynamic shifted dramatically. What had begun as a united front was rapidly disintegrating. Generations of Hammond family protocols were being challenged, with Rachel unexpectedly at the epicenter of this familial earthquake. Elena's attempts to manage the situation became increasingly desperate. She alternated between defending Derek, minimizing the financial revelation, and attempting to redirect the conversation. Each intervention revealed more about the family's complex power structures than she likely intended. Rachel's silence became its own form of power. Unlike her previous interactions with the family, where she would defer to Derek or Elena, she now observed with a growing sense of detachment. The psychological manipulation that had defined her marriage was being exposed in real time, surrounded by her husband's entire extended family. As the afternoon wore on, the reunion transformed from a celebratory gathering to an impromptu family tribunal. Derek's financial betrayal had torn away the carefully maintained veneer of family unity, exposing generations of complex relational dynamics. The lakeside property, with its expansive windows and meticulously maintained grounds, became a metaphorical stage for a drama decades in the making. Rachel realized she was no longer just a participant in this family narrative. She was about to become its author. The Hammond family reunion had become the unexpected catalyst for a profound personal transformation. What Derek had intended as a calculated financial maneuver had instead opened a Pandora's box of family secrets, personal betrayals, and long-suppressed truths. The drive home from the Hammond family reunion was a study in controlled silence. Derek navigated the winding Oregon highways with his typical professional composure, while Rachel sat beside him, her mind processing the seismic shift in their relationship. The landscape outside, dense evergreen forests and occasional glimpses of misty mountain ranges, seemed to mirror the turbulent internal landscape she was experiencing. Professional training had equipped Rachel with exceptional emotional regulation skills. Her work as a school counselor demanded the ability to maintain composure in challenging circumstances. Yet, nothing in her professional experience had prepared her for this level of personal betrayal. The $200,000 financial extraction was more than a monetary loss. It was a complete violation of trust, a systematic dismantling of their partnership. As they approached their Portland home, a meticulously maintained craftsman-style house that had once represented their shared dreams, Rachel began to methodically deconstruct the events of the day. Her counseling background provided a framework for understanding the psychological dynamics at play. Derek's announcement was not a spontaneous decision, but the culmination of a carefully orchestrated plan of financial and emotional manipulation. The house felt different now. Spaces that had once represented shared memories now seemed like carefully constructed stages of Derek's long-term deception. Family photographs, investment documents, shared mementos. Each item became a potential piece of evidence in understanding the depth of his betrayal. Derek attempted minimal conversation, his approach shifting between defensive explanations and attempts to minimize the significance of his actions. "It was a strategic investment," he repeated, using the same professional tone he had employed during the family reunion. "I was protecting our long-term financial interests." Rachel's response was measured and calculated. "We'll need to discuss this thoroughly," she stated, her voice professional and controlled. The counselor in her recognized the importance of maintaining emotional equilibrium while gathering critical information. That evening, while Derek worked in his home office, Rachel began a systematic documentation of their financial history. Years of subtle exclusion from financial discussions had not prevented her from developing keen observational skills. She began collecting bank statements, investment records, and communication histories. Her professional network proved unexpectedly valuable. A colleague from the school district, Andrea Martinez, was married to a forensic financial advisor. Without revealing the full extent of her situation, Rachel sought preliminary advice about understanding complex financial extractions and potential legal implications. The process of documentation became a form of psychological recovery. Each carefully organized file, each chronological arrangement of financial records, represented a step toward understanding and potentially reclaiming her financial autonomy. Her counseling training emphasized the importance of structured approach in processing trauma. Derek's behavior became increasingly erratic. Professional facade began to crack, revealing underlying tensions and potential vulnerabilities. His attempts to control the narrative became more desperate, oscillating between minimization and aggressive defensiveness. Rachel's brother-in-law, Michael, emerged as an unexpected source of support. A forensic accountant with extensive experience in financial investigations, he reached out via a carefully worded email. "If you need a professional perspective," he wrote, "I'm available to provide objective analysis." The psychological impact of the betrayal was multifaceted. Beyond the immediate financial loss, Rachel confronted the systematic erosion of her personal agency. Years of gradual manipulation had created a complex emotional landscape that would require careful navigation. Her professional training provided a unique lens for processing the betrayal. She recognized the manipulation tactics: gradual isolation, financial control, strategic gaslighting, with a clinical detachment that surprised her. The counselor in her was simultaneously the patient working through a profound personal trauma. As the initial shock began to recede, Rachel developed a strategic approach to her next steps. Documentation, legal consultation, and careful emotional processing became her primary objectives. The Hammond family reunion had not just revealed a financial betrayal, it had become the catalyst for a profound personal transformation. The house that had once represented shared dreams now felt like a crime scene of emotional and financial deconstruction. Each room, each carefully maintained space, now held the potential for uncovering the full extent of Derek's systematic betrayal. Rachel understood that the journey ahead would be complex. Financial recovery, emotional healing, professional readjustment. These would be interconnected challenges requiring methodical approach and unwavering determination. The woman who had entered the Hammond family reunion would not be the same woman who would emerge from this experience. The initial steps of Rachel's response were characterized by methodical precision. Her first appointment was with Catherine Rodriguez, a prominent family law attorney specializing in financial disputes and marital asset protection. Located in a sophisticated downtown Portland law office, the consultation represented a critical inflection point in Rachel's strategic approach to addressing her husband's financial betrayal. Catherine Rodriguez's office reflected her professional reputation. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Willamette River and meticulously organized. Case files suggested a lawyer who approached each case with surgical attention to detail. Rachel arrived with a comprehensive binder of financial documentation, a testament to her professional training and systematic approach to gathering evidence. The $200,000 extraction is significant, Catherine observed, reviewing the financial records Rachel had compiled. Oregon is a community property state, which means marital assets are typically considered joint property. Your husband's unilateral action raises serious legal questions. The consultation revealed multiple layers of potential legal recourse. Derek's financial extraction potentially constituted several legal violations, including potential financial fraud and breach of marital financial agreements. Catherine outlined a multi-pronged strategy that would protect Rachel's financial interests while preparing for potential legal proceedings. Rachel's professional background as a school counselor proved unexpectedly advantageous. Her ability to present information objectively, to maintain emotional composure, and to document details meticulously provided a strong foundation for the legal consultation. She approached the meeting not as a victim, but as a strategic partner in understanding her legal options. Concurrent with the legal consultation, Rachel initiated a discreet professional network investigation. Her colleague Andrea Martinez's connection to a forensic financial advisor proved invaluable. The advisor, Thomas Chen, agreed to a confidential, preliminary review of the financial extraction, providing an independent assessment of the transaction's legitimacy. Thomas Chen's initial analysis raised significant red flags. The $200,000 withdrawal showed signs of calculated planning, with funds transferred through multiple accounts in a manner designed to obscure the original source. This isn't a simple investment strategy, Chen noted during a confidential phone consultation. This appears to be a deliberate financial extraction. The professional network Rachel had cultivated became an unexpected source of support and strategic guidance. Her colleagues, while maintaining professional discretion, provided emotional and practical support. The school district's employee assistance program offered additional resources for managing personal crisis while maintaining professional performance. Legal and financial consultations revealed a complex landscape of potential actions. Catherine Rodriguez outlined several potential strategies. 1. Forensic financial investigation. Comprehensive tracing of the $200,000 extraction. 2. Temporary financial restraining order. 3. Comprehensive marital asset disclosure demand. 4. Potential criminal financial fraud investigation. Rachel's approach was deliberate and measured. She understood that emotional reactivity would undermine her strategic objectives. Each consultation, each document review, each strategic conversation was an opportunity to rebuild her financial and personal autonomy. The Hammond family dynamics added another layer of complexity. Michael, her brother-in-law and forensic accountant, provided additional insights into potential family legal strategies. The Hammond family has a history of managing internal conflicts. Privately, he cautioned, your approach needs to balance legal action with strategic family navigation. Personal and professional boundaries became a critical consideration. Rachel's role as a school counselor demanded maintaining professional composure during a personally challenging time. She developed a strategic communication plan that would protect her professional reputation while addressing her personal crisis. Psychological support became as critical as legal consultation. Catherine recommended a specialized therapist experienced in supporting individuals navigating complex marital financial betrayals. The recommended therapist, Dr. Elena Ramirez, specialized in helping professionals process personal crises while maintaining career effectiveness. As the initial consultation phase concluded, Rachel recognized she was constructing more than a legal strategy. She was redesigning her entire life infrastructure. Each professional interaction, each strategic conversation, represented a step toward complete personal and financial reconstruction. The downtown Portland law office, with its panoramic river view, became a symbolic space of transformation. What had begun as a devastating family reunion revelation was evolving into a comprehensive strategy for personal and financial liberation. Rachel understood that the journey ahead would be complex and challenging. But for the first time since the Hammond family reunion, she felt a sense of agency, of potential, of the possibility of reclaiming her narrative on her own terms. The initial confrontation occurred in the careful architectural precision of their Portland craftsman home. Derek had returned from work, expecting the typical evening routine, only to find Rachel had reorganized their shared living space with a strategic deliberation that mirrored her professional approach to crisis management. Financial documents were meticulously arranged across the dining room table. The confrontation was not an endpoint, but a critical inflection point in reclaiming her personal and professional autonomy. As she prepared to leave the home that had been both sanctuary and prison, Rachel felt a complex mixture of emotions. Fear, certainly. But more prominently, a growing sense of liberation, of potential, of the opportunity to reconstruct her life on her own terms. The weeks following the confrontation with Derek represented a critical period of strategic personal reconstruction. Rachel's professional background as a school counselor provided her with a unique set of psychological tools for navigating personal crisis, transforming her professional expertise into a mechanism for personal survival and growth. Her initial focus was on establishing a comprehensive support infrastructure. The Employee Assistance Program at the school district offered confidential counseling services, which Rachel strategically utilized. Dr. Elena Ramirez, the recommended therapist specializing in professional women navigating personal crises, became a critical resource in processing the emotional complexity of her situation. Professional network support proved unexpectedly robust. Colleagues who had observed Rachel's gradual isolation during her marriage now emerged as sources of practical and emotional support. Andrea Martinez, her closest professional colleague, helped Rachel explore potential career enhancement opportunities that had been previously discouraged by Derek. Financial reconstruction became a methodical process. Working closely with Catherine Rodriguez, her legal counsel, Rachel began the complex task of documenting and recovering her financial autonomy. The forensic financial analysis conducted by Thomas Chen revealed multiple layers of financial manipulation that extended beyond the initial $200,000 withdrawal. The school district administration demonstrated unexpected flexibility. When Rachel disclosed her situation to the principal, Dr. James Henderson, she was offered additional professional support, flexible scheduling, potential professional development opportunities, and discreet administrative support became critical components of her recovery strategy. Rachel's approach to personal housing represented a strategic decision. Rather than immediately seeking a permanent residence, she secured a 6-month furnished apartment through a professional relocation service. This provided stability while maintaining flexibility for future personal and professional decisions. Technological infrastructure became a critical component of her recovery strategy. With Michael Hammond's guidance, Rachel implemented comprehensive digital security measures. New email accounts, secured communication channels, and careful management of personal digital footprints became priority considerations. Professional skill enhancement emerged as a critical recovery strategy. Rachel enrolled in advanced counseling, certification programs, focusing on trauma-informed care and financial abuse recovery. These educational pursuits served multiple purposes: professional development, personal empowerment, and strategic future planning. The legal proceedings initiated by Catherine Rodriguez required comprehensive documentation and strategic preparation. Rachel developed a systematic approach to gathering and organizing evidence, transforming her personal crisis into a methodical process of legal and personal reclamation. Family dynamics required careful navigation. The Hammond family's initial response to the separation was complex and multifaceted. Michael continued to provide strategic support while maintaining professional boundaries. Elena Hammond's attempts to mediate were systematically and professionally managed by Rachel's legal counsel. Financial recovery became a comprehensive strategy. Working with a recommended financial advisor, Rachel began the process of rebuilding her economic infrastructure. This included establishing independent banking relationships, developing a comprehensive personal budget, and creating long-term financial recovery strategies. Professional networking took on new significance. Rachel began attending professional conferences and development workshops, expanding her professional network and creating potential career opportunities that had been previously discouraged during her marriage. Psychological recovery was approached with the same strategic precision Rachel applied to her professional life. Dr. Ramirez guided her through a comprehensive healing process that emphasized personal agency, professional development, and emotional reconstruction. The support group for professionals navigating personal crises became an unexpected source of strength. Connecting with individuals who had experienced similar challenges provided both practical insights and emotional validation. Rachel's professional identity became a critical source of stability during this transformative period. Her role as a school counselor, previously seen as a limitation, now emerged as a source of profound personal strength and professional resilience. By systematically addressing each aspect of her personal and professional infrastructure, Rachel transformed her initial crisis into an opportunity for comprehensive personal reconstruction. The financial betrayal that had once threatened to define her became instead a catalyst for profound personal and professional growth. As the initial months of separation and recovery progressed, Rachel began to see her journey not as a story of victimization, but as a narrative of strategic personal transformation. Each carefully considered decision, each professionally managed challenge, represented a step toward complete personal liberation and renewed potential. The legal proceedings against Derek Hammond represented a complex intersection of financial litigation, marital dissolution, and systemic financial misconduct. Catherine Rodriguez approached the case with strategic precision, transforming Rachel's personal crisis into a comprehensive legal strategy that extended beyond simple asset division. Preliminary discovery revealed a more intricate pattern of financial manipulation than initially suspected. Forensic financial analysis conducted by Thomas Chen uncovered multiple financial transfers, investment redirections, and systematic attempts to obscure the full extent of Derek's financial activities. Each documented transaction became a critical piece of evidence in building a comprehensive legal case. The legal strategy developed by Catherine Rodriguez was multifaceted. Beyond the immediate financial extraction, the approach targeted the systemic pattern of financial control and potential fraudulent activity. Depositions revealed a calculated approach to financial manipulation that extended well beyond the $200,000 withdrawal initially discovered at the family reunion. Family dynamics added complexity to the legal proceedings. The Hammond family's initial attempts to mediate privately quickly dissolved when confronted with comprehensive documentation. Michael Hammond's forensic accounting expertise proved crucial in providing independent verification of the financial irregularities. Court-mandated financial disclosures exposed multiple layers of financial misrepresentation. Derek's attempts to minimize the extent of his financial manipulations were systematically dismantled through meticulous documentation and expert testimony. Investment accounts, previously presented as strategic financial planning, were revealed as calculated mechanisms of financial control. Rachel's professional network provided unexpected strategic support. Colleagues from the school district testified to the systematic ways Derek had undermined her professional development and financial independence. Expert witnesses, including Dr. Elena Ramirez, provided comprehensive testimony about the psychological impact of prolonged financial manipulation. The legal proceedings became a comprehensive examination of marital financial dynamics. Catherine Rodriguez structured the case to demonstrate not just a single act of financial betrayal, but a systematic pattern of economic control and psychological manipulation. Each deposition, each financial record became a piece of a larger narrative of systematic personal and economic subjugation. Family relationships underwent profound recalibration during this process. The Hammond family's initial attempts to present a unified front quickly disintegrated. Michael Hammond's decision to support Rachel represented a critical break in family dynamics, challenging long-standing patterns of familial concealment and protection. Elena Hammond's attempts to manage the situation through private negotiation became increasingly ineffective. The comprehensive legal strategy developed by Catherine Rodriguez left no room for the traditional Hammond family approach of managing conflicts internally. Each legal maneuver exposed deeper patterns of familial, financial manipulation. Psychological expert testimony became a critical component of the legal strategy. Dr. Ramirez provided comprehensive analysis of the long-term psychological impact of prolonged financial control, transforming the legal proceedings from a simple asset division to a broader examination of systemic emotional and economic abuse. The court-mandated financial forensics revealed multiple additional financial irregularities. Investments previously presented as strategic financial planning were exposed as calculated mechanisms of personal control. Derek's professional network became increasingly reluctant to provide character references as the extent of his financial manipulations became clear. Rachel's approach to the legal proceedings was fundamentally transformative. Rather than positioning herself as a victim, she approached the process as a comprehensive strategy of personal and financial reclamation. Each legal document, each deposition represented a step toward complete personal liberation. The financial forensics uncovered by Thomas Chen revealed a complex network of financial transfers and investment strategies designed to systematically isolate Rachel from their shared financial resources. Multiple investment accounts, previously unknown to Rachel, were brought to light through comprehensive legal discovery. As the legal proceedings progressed, it became clear that the $200,000 withdrawal was merely the most visible manifestation of a much more comprehensive pattern of financial manipulation. The Hammond family's attempts to manage the situation privately became increasingly untenable in the face of comprehensive legal documentation. The legal strategy developed by Catherine Rodriguez transformed Rachel's personal crisis into a broader examination of systemic financial control within marital relationships. Each legal maneuver became not just a strategy for personal recovery, but a potential precedent for addressing complex financial manipulation. By the conclusion of the initial legal proceedings, Rachel had transformed from a victim of financial betrayal to a strategic architect of her own personal and economic liberation. The legal process became a comprehensive mechanism of personal reconstruction, challenging long-standing patterns of familial and marital financial control. The professional transformation emerged as a critical mechanism of personal recovery. Rachel's approach to rebuilding her career and personal identity was characterized by strategic planning, systematic skill development, and a comprehensive reassessment of her professional potential. Advanced certification programs became the foundation of her professional reinvention. The school counseling field was undergoing significant changes, with increased emphasis on trauma-informed care, financial literacy education, and comprehensive student support strategies. Rachel positioned herself at the forefront of these emerging professional developments. Her doctoral research proposal focused on the intersection of financial abuse, psychological resilience, and educational support systems. Dr. Elena Ramirez guided her through the initial research design, helping Rachel transform her personal experience into a broader academic and professional exploration. The research represented more than an academic pursuit. It was a mechanism of personal and professional reclamation. professional networking took on strategic significance. Rachel began presenting at regional and national counseling conferences, sharing insights into supporting students experiencing complex family dynamics. Her presentations, grounded in both professional expertise and personal experience, received significant academic and professional attention. The school district administration recognized Rachel's emerging expertise. Dr. James Henderson proposed a unique professional opportunity, developing a comprehensive student support program focusing on financial literacy and emotional resilience. The initiative would integrate Rachel's personal insights with her professional training, creating a transformative approach to student support. Collaborative research partnerships emerged unexpectedly. The forensic financial analysis conducted during her legal proceedings connected her with professionals studying economic abuse and systemic financial manipulation. These connections transformed her personal crisis into a broader professional exploration of critical social issues. Financial independence became a comprehensive strategy of personal and professional development. Working with recommended financial advisors, Rachel developed a multifaceted approach to economic reconstruction. This included diversified investment strategies, comprehensive financial literacy training, and strategic career development planning. The professional support network cultivated during her recovery became a critical resource. Colleagues who had observed her gradual isolation during her marriage now became collaborators in her professional reconstruction. Andrea Martinez helped Rachel explore advanced grant opportunities for innovative counseling research. Psychological recovery integrated seamlessly with professional development. The therapeutic work with Dr. Ramirez transformed from traditional trauma recovery to a comprehensive approach of personal and professional empowerment. Each counseling session became a strategic planning opportunity for personal and professional growth. The legal proceedings against Derek Hammond had inadvertently created professional opportunities. Michael Hammond's forensic accounting expertise connected Rachel with a network of professionals studying systemic financial manipulation. Speaking engagements and collaborative research projects emerged from these unexpected professional connections. Educational leadership became a critical component of Rachel's professional reconstruction. She began developing curriculum modules addressing financial literacy, emotional resilience, and strategies for identifying systemic economic abuse. These educational initiatives represented a comprehensive approach to transforming her personal experience into a broader social impact strategy. Professional certifications in trauma-informed care, financial counseling, and advanced educational support strategies became critical components of her professional reinvention. Each certification represented not just a professional credential, but a tangible manifestation of her personal transformation. The research and professional development initiatives extended beyond individual professional growth. Rachel began collaborating with national educational organizations, developing comprehensive support strategies for students experiencing complex family and economic challenges. Her personal experience became a catalyst for broader systemic change. Technological infrastructure played a critical role in her professional reconstruction. Advanced digital communication strategies, comprehensive online professional networking, and strategic digital presence management became key components of her professional development approach. By systematically addressing each aspect of her professional identity, Rachel transformed her initial personal crisis into a comprehensive strategy of professional and personal reinvention. The financial betrayal that had once threatened to define her became instead a catalyst for profound professional innovation and personal growth. As her professional trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel recognized that her journey represented more than individual recovery. Her work was becoming a comprehensive exploration of systemic challenges related to financial abuse, educational support, and personal resilience. Each professional initiative, each research project, each educational module represented a step toward broader social understanding and support. The transformation was complete. Rachel was no longer defined by the betrayal she had experienced, but by the innovative professional and personal path she was creating. Her story had become a testament to the potential for personal reinvention and professional impact. The trajectory of Rachel's professional and personal development transcended individual recovery, evolving into a comprehensive strategy for addressing systemic challenges of financial abuse and personal empowerment. Her approach represented a sophisticated integration of personal experience, professional expertise, and strategic social intervention. Collaborative research initiatives became the primary mechanism for broader social impact. Working with interdisciplinary teams of psychologists, financial experts, and educational professionals, Rachel developed a comprehensive framework for understanding and addressing complex economic abuse dynamics. The research extended beyond individual case studies, focusing on systemic patterns of financial manipulation within personal relationships. The National Educational Counseling Association invited Rachel to develop a groundbreaking training program addressing financial literacy and emotional resilience for school counseling professionals. This initiative represented a transformative approach to professional development, integrating psychological insights with practical economic education strategies. Her doctoral research evolved into a comprehensive study examining the intersectional dynamics of financial abuse, professional development, and personal resilience. The research methodology was notable for its rigorous approach, combining qualitative narrative analysis with quantitative economic impact assessment. Academic publications began to recognize Rachel as a leading voice in understanding complex economic abuse patterns. Institutional partnerships emerged as critical components of her broader impact strategy. The Oregon Department of Education commissioned Rachel to develop comprehensive guidelines for identifying and supporting students experiencing economic vulnerability. These guidelines represented a significant advancement in educational support methodologies. Professional speaking. Engagements expanded Rachel's platform for social impact. Conference presentations at national educational and psychological conferences transformed her personal narrative into a broader exploration of systemic economic challenges. Each presentation was carefully structured to provide both personal insight and strategic professional guidance. Technological innovation became a critical component of her approach to social impact. Rachel collaborated with digital platform developers to create comprehensive resources for economic education and personal empowerment. These digital tools provided accessible strategies for understanding financial dynamics and recognizing potential economic manipulation. The legal proceedings against Derek Hammond had inadvertently created a broader professional network of experts studying economic abuse. Forensic financial analysts, legal professionals, and psychological researchers became collaborative partners in developing comprehensive intervention strategies. Educational curriculum development emerged as a primary mechanism for broader social change. Rachel worked with national educational organizations to develop comprehensive modules addressing financial literacy, emotional resilience, and strategies for identifying systemic economic challenges. These educational initiatives represented a transformative approach to addressing complex social issues. Psychological research integrated with economic analysis created a sophisticated understanding of financial abuse dynamics. Rachel's work demonstrated the complex interplay between psychological manipulation and economic control, providing professionals with nuanced strategies for identification and intervention. The Hammond family legal proceedings had transformed from a personal crisis into a broader exploration of systemic economic challenges. Michael Hammond's forensic accounting expertise continued to provide valuable insights, creating unexpected, collaborative opportunities for addressing complex economic abuse patterns. Professional certification programs emerged from Rachel's research initiatives. Advanced training modules for counseling professionals provided comprehensive strategies for identifying and supporting individuals experiencing economic vulnerability. These certification programs represented a significant advancement in professional development methodologies. Technological infrastructure played a critical role in expanding the reach of her research and educational initiatives. Comprehensive digital platforms, online training modules, and interactive resources created accessible mechanisms for broader social education and support. By systematically addressing the complex dynamics of economic abuse, Rachel transformed her personal experience into a comprehensive strategy for social impact. Her work extended beyond individual recovery, creating sophisticated frameworks for understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. The broader social impact of her work became increasingly apparent. National policy discussions began to incorporate her research findings, creating more comprehensive approaches to understanding economic abuse and personal empowerment. Each research initiative, each educational module, represented a step toward broader social understanding and support. Rachel's journey had become more than a personal narrative of recovery. It represented a comprehensive approach to addressing systemic economic challenges, providing professionals with sophisticated strategies for understanding and supporting individuals experiencing complex economic vulnerabilities. As her professional trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel recognized that her work represented a critical intervention in understanding the complex dynamics of economic abuse, personal resilience, and systemic social support. Her story had become a testament to the potential for personal transformation to create broader social impact. The process of personal transformation extended far beyond professional achievements and social impact. Rachel's journey of internal reconstruction represented a comprehensive philosophical reevaluation of personal identity, relational dynamics, and individual agency. Therapeutic work with Dr. Elena Ramirez evolved into a sophisticated exploration of personal narrative reconstruction. Each counseling session became a strategic examination of the psychological mechanisms that had enabled her prolonged experience of financial and emotional manipulation. The goal transcended traditional trauma recovery, focusing instead on comprehensive, personal empowerment and philosophical reframing. Reflective writing became a critical mechanism of personal integration. Rachel developed a comprehensive journaling practice that systematically analyzed her experiences, professional developments, and ongoing personal growth. These written reflections provided a nuanced framework for understanding the complex intersections of personal experience, professional development, and broader social dynamics. The relationship with her family underwent significant recalibration. Her parents, who had initially struggled to understand the complexities of her situation, became important sources of support and critical reflection. Family conversations transformed from traditional supportive interactions to sophisticated dialogues about personal agency, systemic challenges, and individual resilience. Interpersonal relationships became a critical area of philosophical exploration. Rachel developed a comprehensive approach to understanding relational dynamics, examining the complex mechanisms of personal boundaries, emotional intelligence, and authentic connection. Professional expertise merged with personal experience to create a sophisticated understanding of human interaction. Financial independence emerged as more than an economic strategy. It became a philosophical statement of personal autonomy. Rachel developed a comprehensive approach to economic decision-making that integrated psychological insights, professional expertise, and strategic personal planning. Each financial decision became a deliberate act of personal empowerment. The Hammond family dynamics continued to provide complex insights into systemic relational patterns. Michael Hammond's continued professional support represented an unexpected mechanism of familial recalibration. Their relationship evolved from traditional family dynamics to a sophisticated professional collaboration focused on understanding complex economic and psychological challenges. Professional networks became platforms for broader philosophical exploration. Interdisciplinary conversations with researchers, legal professionals, and psychological experts provided Rachel with increasingly nuanced perspectives on personal agency, systemic challenges, and individual resilience. Technological engagement. represented more than professional strategy. It became a philosophical approach to personal and social transformation. Rachel developed sophisticated digital communication strategies that integrated personal narrative, professional expertise, and broader social impact considerations. Educational initiatives became mechanisms for philosophical exploration. Each curriculum module, each research project represented an opportunity to examine broader questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual potential for transformation. The legal proceedings against Derek Hammond had transformed from a personal crisis into a comprehensive philosophical exploration of relational dynamics, economic control, and individual resilience. Each legal document, each expert testimony, became a text for deeper philosophical reflection. Personal spirituality and philosophical understanding underwent significant reconstruction. Rachel explored various philosophical frameworks, integrating psychological insights, professional expertise, and personal experience into a comprehensive understanding of individual potential and systemic challenge. Collaborative research initiatives became platforms for philosophical exploration. Interdisciplinary teams provided opportunities to examine complex questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual potential for transformation. Each research project represented a sophisticated exploration of human potential. The broader social impact of her work became a critical mechanism of personal philosophical integration. Rachel recognized that her individual journey represented a broader exploration of human potential, systemic challenge, and individual resilience. Each professional initiative became an opportunity for deeper philosophical reflection. As her personal and professional trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel developed a sophisticated philosophical framework that integrated personal experience, professional expertise, and broader social understanding. Her journey represented more than individual recovery. It was a comprehensive exploration of human potential for transformation and resilience. The transformation was complete. Rachel had reconstructed not just her professional and economic identity, but her entire philosophical understanding of personal agency, relational dynamics, and individual potential. Her story had become a testament to the profound potential for personal reconstruction and broader social impact. The culmination of Rachel's transformative journey materialized as a comprehensive strategic vision for addressing systemic economic vulnerabilities. Her approach represented a sophisticated integration of personal experience, professional expertise, and strategic social innovation. The National Center for Economic Empowerment, an organization she founded, became the primary mechanism for implementing her vision. This innovative initiative brought together interdisciplinary experts from psychology, economics, education, and legal disciplines to develop comprehensive strategies for addressing economic abuse and personal financial resilience. Institutional partnerships expanded the scope of her strategic vision. Collaborative agreements with major universities, government agencies, and international educational organizations created a robust platform for implementing comprehensive economic education and support strategies. These partnerships transformed Rachel's personal experience into a structured approach for systemic intervention. The research and intervention model developed by the National Center for Economic Empowerment represented a groundbreaking approach to understanding and addressing economic vulnerabilities. The methodology integrated multiple disciplinary perspectives, creating a holistic framework for identifying, supporting, and empowering individuals experiencing economic challenges. Professional certification programs emerged as a critical component of the organization's strategic approach. Advanced training modules provided professionals across multiple disciplines with comprehensive tools for identifying and addressing complex economic abuse dynamics. These certification programs represented a significant advancement in professional development methodologies. Technological innovation became a core strategy for broader social impact. The organization developed comprehensive digital platforms that provided accessible resources for economic education, personal empowerment, and professional support. These technological solutions created scalable mechanisms for delivering critical support and education. The legal and academic research initiatives expanded beyond individual case studies, focusing on developing comprehensive frameworks for understanding systemic economic challenges. Collaborative research projects examined the complex intersections of psychological manipulation, economic control, and personal resilience. International engagement represented a critical dimension of the organization's strategic vision. Collaborative research initiatives with global partners created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to addressing economic vulnerabilities across diverse cultural and social contexts. Policy development became a primary mechanism for creating broader systemic change. Rachel worked closely with legislative bodies to develop comprehensive policy frameworks addressing economic abuse, financial literacy, and personal economic empowerment. These policy initiatives represented a sophisticated approach to systemic intervention. The Hammond family legal proceedings had transformed from a personal crisis into a comprehensive strategy for addressing systemic economic challenges. Michael Hammond's continued forensic expertise provided valuable insights into developing sophisticated intervention strategies. Educational curriculum development emerged as a critical component of the organization's broader impact strategy. Comprehensive modules addressing financial literacy, emotional resilience, and economic empowerment were developed for multiple educational levels, from primary education to professional training programs. Technological infrastructure played a crucial role in expanding the reach of the organization's initiatives. Comprehensive digital platforms, online training modules, and interactive resources created accessible mechanisms for broader social education and support. The strategic vision extended beyond traditional approaches to addressing economic challenges. Rachel's organization developed sophisticated intervention strategies that integrated psychological support, economic education, and professional development. Each initiative represented a comprehensive approach to personal and social transformation. Collaborative research initiatives continued to provide critical insights into the complex dynamics of economic abuse and personal resilience. Interdisciplinary teams of researchers, legal professionals, and psychological experts worked together to develop increasingly nuanced understanding of systemic economic challenges. As the organization's strategic vision continued to evolve, Rachel recognized that her work represented a critical intervention in addressing complex economic vulnerabilities. The National Center for Economic Empowerment had become a comprehensive platform for creating meaningful social impact, transforming personal experience into a sophisticated mechanism for systemic change. The journey from personal crisis to strategic social innovation represented a profound testament to the potential for individual transformation to create broader societal impact. Rachel's vision extended far beyond personal recovery, creating a comprehensive approach to understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. The process of personal relational reconstruction represented a sophisticated approach to understanding and reestablishing meaningful interpersonal connections. Rachel's journey of emotional recovery extended far beyond professional achievements, focusing on developing authentic, balanced, and intentional relationships that reflected her newfound understanding of personal agency and emotional intelligence. Professional expertise in counseling provided a critical framework for navigating complex interpersonal dynamics. The skills developed through years of supporting students through challenging personal circumstances became instrumental in her own process of relational reconstruction. Each interaction became an opportunity for deliberate, mindful engagement, informed by comprehensive psychological insights. Familial relationships underwent a significant transformation. Her parents, who had initially struggled to fully comprehend the complexities of her experience with Derek, became critical partners in her journey of personal recovery. Conversations evolved from traditional supportive interactions to sophisticated, dialogues about personal resilience, systemic challenges, and individual growth. Romantic relationships became a critical area of careful exploration. Rachel developed a comprehensive approach to understanding potential partnerships, integrating her professional expertise with personal experience. Dating was approached as a strategic process of mutual understanding, with clear boundaries and comprehensive self-awareness. Professional networking provided unexpected opportunities for meaningful personal connections. Collaborative research, initiatives, and interdisciplinary projects created platforms for developing nuanced, authentic relationships based on shared professional objectives and personal values. Therapeutic work with Dr. Elena Ramirez continued to provide critical insights into relational dynamics. Each counseling session became an opportunity for sophisticated exploration of interpersonal patterns, emotional intelligence, and intentional relationship building. The goal extended beyond traditional therapeutic objectives, focusing on comprehensive personal empowerment. The relationship with Michael Hammond represented a unique dimension of relational reconstruction. What had begun as a family connection transformed into a sophisticated professional collaboration and supportive personal relationship. Their interactions demonstrated the potential for redefining familial and professional boundaries. Support. Networks emerged as critical mechanisms of personal and professional support. Rachel cultivated a comprehensive approach to building relationships that provided both emotional sustenance and professional opportunities. These networks represented carefully constructed ecosystems of mutual support and professional collaboration. Digital communication strategies became an integral component of relational reconstruction. Rachel developed sophisticated approaches to managing personal and professional connections, creating intentional mechanisms for meaningful engagement across various communication platforms. Family gatherings transformed from potentially challenging interactions to opportunities for meaningful connection. The annual Hammond family reunions, which had once been spaces of tension and manipulation, became platforms for sophisticated family dialogue and mutual understanding. Professional colleagues became important sources of personal support and professional collaboration. The relationships developed through the National Center for Economic Empowerment represented a comprehensive approach to building meaningful professional and personal connections. The process of relational reconstruction extended beyond individual connections, representing a comprehensive approach to understanding human interaction. Rachel's work integrated psychological insights, professional expertise, and personal experience to develop sophisticated frameworks for meaningful relational engagement. International collaborative initiatives provided additional opportunities for developing complex, meaningful relationships. Research partnerships and professional networks created platforms for developing nuanced connections that transcended traditional interpersonal boundaries. Technological platforms became mechanisms for intentional relationship building. Digital communication strategies were developed with comprehensive consideration of emotional intelligence, professional objectives, and personal boundaries. The transformation of personal relationships represented more than individual recovery. Rachel's approach demonstrated the potential for intentional, sophisticated relational engagement that integrated professional expertise, personal experience, and comprehensive emotional intelligence. As her personal and professional trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel developed increasingly nuanced approaches to interpersonal connection. Each relationship became an opportunity for mutual growth, professional collaboration, and personal understanding. Her journey represented a comprehensive exploration of the potential for meaningful, intentional human connection. The reconstruction of personal relationships had become a critical dimension of her broader journey of personal and professional transformation. What had begun as a process of recovery from personal betrayal had evolved into a sophisticated approach to understanding and developing meaningful human connections. The trajectory of Rachel's personal development represented a comprehensive synthesis of professional expertise, lived experience, and strategic philosophical reconstruction. Her journey transcended traditional narratives of personal recovery, emerging as a sophisticated exploration of individual potential and systemic transformation. Philosophical inquiry became a critical mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her personal experience. Interdisciplinary research initiatives provided platforms for examining complex questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual resilience. Each academic exploration represented an opportunity for deeper philosophical understanding. The integration of professional expertise and personal experience created a unique philosophical framework. Rachel's approach to understanding human potential combined psychological insights, economic analysis, and comprehensive social perspective. This multidimensional approach challenged traditional disciplinary boundaries, creating innovative approaches to understanding human experience. Reflective practice emerged as a critical component of her philosophical development. Comprehensive journaling, academic research, and interdisciplinary dialogue provided mechanisms for continual philosophical exploration. Each written reflection became an opportunity for sophisticated self-examination and broader social analysis. Technological platforms became critical tools for philosophical exploration. Digital communication strategies enabled sophisticated dialogue across disciplinary and geographical boundaries. These technological mechanisms created unprecedented opportunities for developing comprehensive philosophical understanding. Collaborative research initiatives with leading universities created comprehensive frameworks for understanding complex economic challenges. These partnerships generated innovative research methodologies that transformed academic understanding of economic abuse and personal resilience. Policy development emerged as a primary strategy for creating sustainable systemic change. Rachel worked extensively with legislative bodies to develop comprehensive policy frameworks addressing economic vulnerabilities. These policy initiatives represented sophisticated approaches to creating structural support mechanisms for individuals experiencing economic challenges. The technological infrastructure developed by the organization created scalable solutions for economic education and support. Digital platforms provided accessible resources for professionals, educators, and individuals seeking comprehensive economic empowerment strategies. Each technological innovation represented a carefully designed mechanism for broad-scale intervention. International. Collaborative initiatives expanded the organization's global impact. Research partnerships with international institutions created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to addressing economic vulnerabilities across diverse cultural and social contexts. These initiatives demonstrated the potential for creating transferable strategies for economic empowerment. Professional certification programs developed by the Center became critical mechanisms for expanding institutional capacity. Advanced training modules provided professionals across multiple disciplines with comprehensive tools for identifying and addressing complex economic abuse dynamics. These certification programs represented a significant advancement in professional development methodologies. The legal framework surrounding economic abuse underwent substantial reconstruction through the organization's comprehensive research and policy initiatives. Expert testimony, academic research, and policy recommendations created new mechanisms for understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. Educational curriculum development represented a critical component of the organization's long-term impact strategy. Comprehensive modules addressing financial literacy, emotional resilience, and economic empowerment were developed for multiple educational levels, from primary education to professional training programs. The Hammond family legal proceedings had transformed from a personal crisis into a comprehensive strategy for creating systemic change. Michael Hammond's continued forensic expertise provided valuable insights into developing sophisticated intervention strategies that extended beyond individual case studies. Research publications generated by the Center created comprehensive frameworks for understanding economic vulnerabilities. Interdisciplinary research approaches provided unprecedented insights into the complex dynamics of economic abuse, personal resilience, and systemic intervention strategies. Technological innovation continued to be a critical component of the organization's strategic approach. Advanced digital platforms created scalable mechanisms for delivering comprehensive economic education and support resources. Each technological initiative represented a carefully designed approach to creating accessible support mechanisms. The organizational model developed by Rachel represented a comprehensive approach to addressing systemic economic challenges. By integrating individual experience, professional expertise, and comprehensive research strategies, the center created unprecedented mechanisms for social transformation. Professional networks cultivated through the organization created extensive collaborative platforms for addressing complex economic challenges. Interdisciplinary partnerships provided opportunities for developing sophisticated approaches to understanding and addressing economic vulnerabilities. As the organization's impact continued to evolve, Rachel recognized that her work represented a critical intervention in addressing complex economic and social challenges. The National Center for Economic Empowerment had become a comprehensive platform for creating meaningful systemic change, transforming personal experience into a sophisticated mechanism for broader social impact. The institutional legacy represented more than individual achievement. Rachel's work demonstrated the profound potential for transforming personal experience into comprehensive strategies for systemic social transformation. Each initiative, each research project, each policy recommendation represented a step toward creating more comprehensive support mechanisms for addressing economic vulnerabilities. Ultimately, the organization's work represented a sophisticated approach to understanding and addressing complex social challenges. By creating comprehensive frameworks for economic empowerment, Rachel had transformed a personal journey of recovery into a powerful mechanism for broader social change. As Rachel contemplated the comprehensive journey of personal and professional transformation, she recognized the profound complexity of her narrative. The trajectory from a moment of financial and personal crisis to a platform of systemic social impact represented a sophisticated process of personal reconstruction and institutional innovation. Reflective analysis became a critical mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her transformative journey. The experience with Derek Hammond had initially represented a moment of profound personal vulnerability. However, through strategic personal and professional development, that moment of crisis had been transformed into a comprehensive approach to understanding systemic economic challenges. Professional expertise provided a critical framework for comprehending her personal transformation. The counseling skills developed through years of supporting students through complex challenges became instrumental in her own process of personal and professional reconstruction. Each experience became an opportunity for sophisticated self-examination and broader social understanding. The National Center for Economic Empowerment represented more than an organizational initiative. It was a comprehensive mechanism for transforming personal experience into systemic social intervention. The center's approach demonstrated the potential for converting individual challenge into broader social impact, creating innovative strategies for addressing economic vulnerabilities. Technological platforms had become critical tools for expanding her vision of personal and social transformation. Digital communication strategies enabled sophisticated dialogue across disciplinary and geographical boundaries. These technological mechanisms created unprecedented opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to economic empowerment. Personal relationships underwent significant reconstruction throughout this journey. The approach to interpersonal connections became increasingly sophisticated, integrating professional insights with comprehensive emotional intelligence. Each relationship represented an opportunity for mutual growth and deeper understanding. The Hammond family dynamics, which had once represented a source of personal challenge, had transformed into a complex mechanism for broader social understanding. Michael Hammond's continued support demonstrated the potential for redefining familial and professional relationships through comprehensive approach to personal and institutional transformation. International collaborative initiatives provided critical platforms for expanding her vision of social impact. Research partnerships created opportunities for examining complex questions of economic vulnerability across diverse cultural and social contexts. These initiatives represented a comprehensive approach to understanding systemic challenges and individual resilience. Philosophical inquiry continued to be a critical mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her personal and professional journey. Interdisciplinary research initiatives provided platforms for examining complex questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual potential. Each academic exploration represented an opportunity for deeper understanding. Policy development emerged as a critical strategy for creating sustainable systemic change. Collaborative work with legislative bodies created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to addressing complex economic challenges. These policy initiatives represented sophisticated mechanisms for broader social intervention. The legal proceedings against Derek Hammond had transformed from a personal crisis into a comprehensive strategy for creating systemic change. Each legal document, each expert testimony became a text for deeper exploration of economic vulnerabilities and individual resilience. Educational initiatives continued to be critical mechanisms for broader social impact. Curriculum development represented opportunities for examining broader questions of economic empowerment and personal potential. Each educational module became a platform for sophisticated social intervention. As her trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel developed increasingly nuanced approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential. Each research initiative, each professional project, became an opportunity for comprehensive social exploration. Her journey represented a profound investigation of the potential for individual and systemic transformation. The personal reconstruction had become a critical dimension of her broader approach to social impact. What had begun as a process of individual recovery had evolved into a comprehensive strategy for addressing systemic economic challenges and supporting individual resilience. Ultimately, Rachel's journey represented a sophisticated synthesis of personal experience, professional expertise, and comprehensive social understanding. Her work demonstrated the profound potential for transforming individual challenge into broader social impact, creating innovative approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential. Looking forward, Rachel recognized that her journey was far from complete. Each new initiative, each research project, each professional collaboration represented an opportunity for continued exploration and broader social impact. The potential for transformation remained infinite, bounded only by the collective imagination and commitment to addressing complex social challenges. The institutional legacy of Rachel's work represented a sophisticated approach to addressing systemic economic vulnerabilities. Her comprehensive strategy extended far beyond individual recovery, creating innovative mechanisms for understanding and supporting individuals experiencing complex economic challenges. Institutional frameworks developed through the National Center for Economic Empowerment demonstrated unprecedented potential for systemic intervention. The center's multidisciplinary approach integrated psychological insights, economic analysis, and comprehensive support strategies. Each programmatic initiative represented a carefully constructed mechanism for addressing complex social and economic challenges. Academic partnerships provided critical platforms for expanding the organization's research capabilities. Collaborative initiatives with leading universities created comprehensive frameworks for understanding economic abuse, personal resilience, and systemic intervention strategies. These partnerships generated innovative research methodologies that transformed academic understanding of economic vulnerabilities. Policy development emerged as a primary mechanism for creating sustainable systemic change. Extensive work with legislative bodies resulted in comprehensive policy frameworks addressing economic abuse and personal financial empowerment. These policy initiatives represented sophisticated approaches to creating structural support mechanisms for individuals experiencing economic challenges. Technological infrastructure developed by the organization created scalable solutions for economic education and support. Digital platforms provided accessible resources for professionals, educators, and individuals seeking comprehensive economic empowerment strategies. Each technological innovation represented a carefully designed approach to broad-scale social intervention. International collaborative initiatives expanded the organization's global impact. Research partnerships with international institutions created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to addressing economic vulnerabilities across diverse cultural and social contexts. These initiatives demonstrated the potential for creating transferable strategies for economic empowerment. Professional certification programs became critical mechanisms for expanding institutional capacity. Advanced training modules provided professionals across multiple disciplines with comprehensive tools for identifying and addressing complex economic abuse dynamics. These certification programs represented a significant advancement in professional development methodologies. The legal framework surrounding economic abuse underwent substantial reconstruction through the organization's comprehensive research and policy initiatives. Expert testimony, academic research, and policy recommendations created new mechanisms for understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. Educational curriculum development represented a critical component of the organization's long-term impact strategy. Comprehensive modules addressing financial literacy, emotional resilience, and economic empowerment were developed for multiple educational levels, from primary education to professional training programs. Research publications generated by the Center created comprehensive frameworks for understanding economic vulnerabilities. Interdisciplinary research approaches provided unprecedented insights into the complex dynamics of economic abuse, personal resilience, and systemic intervention strategies. The organizational model developed by Rachel represented a comprehensive approach to addressing systemic economic challenges. By integrating individual experience, professional expertise, and comprehensive research strategies, the Center created unprecedented mechanisms for social transformation. Professional networks cultivated through the organization created extensive collaborative platforms for addressing complex economic challenges. Interdisciplinary partnerships provided opportunities for developing sophisticated approaches to understanding and addressing economic vulnerabilities. The personal transformation that had initiated this journey now represented a sophisticated mechanism for broader social impact. What had begun as an individual experience of financial betrayal had evolved into a comprehensive approach to understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. Technological innovation continued to be a critical component of the organization's strategic approach. Advanced digital platforms created scalable mechanisms for delivering comprehensive economic education and support resources. Each technological initiative represented a carefully designed approach to creating accessible support mechanisms. The institutional legacy represented more than individual achievement. Rachel's work demonstrated the profound potential for transforming personal experience into comprehensive strategies for systemic social transformation. Each initiative, each research project, each policy recommendation represented a step toward creating more comprehensive support mechanisms for addressing economic vulnerabilities. As the organization's impact continued to evolve, Rachel recognized that her work represented a critical intervention in addressing complex economic and social challenges. The National Center for Economic Empowerment had become a comprehensive platform for creating meaningful systemic change, transforming personal experience into a sophisticated mechanism for broader social impact. Ultimately, the organization's work represented a sophisticated approach to understanding and addressing complex social challenges. By creating comprehensive frameworks for economic empowerment, Rachel had transformed a personal journey of recovery into a powerful mechanism for broader social change, demonstrating the profound potential for individual resilience and systemic transformation. The culmination of Rachel's transformative journey represented a sophisticated intersection of personal resilience and institutional innovation. Her trajectory from a moment of profound personal vulnerability to a platform of comprehensive social impact demonstrated the potential for strategic personal reconstruction and systemic transformation. Strategic vision emerged as the primary mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her comprehensive journey. The National Center for Economic Empowerment had evolved from a personal response to systemic challenge into a sophisticated platform for addressing complex economic vulnerabilities. Each institutional initiative represented a carefully constructed approach to creating meaningful social impact. Professional development strategies continued to be critical in expanding the organization's comprehensive approach. Advanced research initiatives, interdisciplinary collaborative partnerships, and innovative technological platforms created unprecedented mechanisms for understanding and addressing economic challenges. The center's approach demonstrated the potential for transforming individual experience into broader social intervention. Technological infrastructure played a crucial role in expanding the organization's strategic capabilities. Digital communication platforms enabled sophisticated dialogue across disciplinary and geographical boundaries. These technological mechanisms created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to economic empowerment and systemic support. International collaborative initiatives provided critical platforms for expanding the organization's global impact. Research partnerships created opportunities for examining complex questions of economic vulnerability across diverse cultural and social contexts. These initiatives represented a comprehensive approach to understanding systemic challenges and individual resilience. Policy development emerged as a primary strategy for creating sustainable systemic change. Collaborative work with legislative bodies created opportunities for developing comprehensive approaches to addressing complex economic challenges. These policy initiatives represented sophisticated mechanisms for broader social intervention and structural support. The personal transformation that had initiated this journey now represented a sophisticated mechanism for broader social impact. What had begun as an individual experience of financial betrayal had evolved into a comprehensive approach to understanding and addressing systemic economic challenges. Professional networks cultivated through the organization created extensive collaborative platforms for addressing complex economic challenges. Interdisciplinary partnerships provided opportunities for developing sophisticated approaches to understanding and addressing economic vulnerabilities. Educational initiatives continued to be critical mechanisms for broader social impact. Curriculum development represented opportunities for examining broader questions of economic empowerment and personal potential. Each educational module became a platform for sophisticated social intervention and comprehensive support strategies. Philosophical inquiry remained a critical mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her work. Interdisciplinary research initiatives provided platforms for examining complex questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual potential. Each academic exploration represented an opportunity for deeper understanding and strategic intervention. As the organizational trajectory continued to evolve, Rachel developed increasingly nuanced approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential. Each research initiative, each professional project became an opportunity for comprehensive social exploration and strategic intervention. The personal reconstruction had become a critical dimension of her broader approach to social impact. What had begun as a process of individual recovery had evolved into a comprehensive strategy for addressing systemic economic challenges and supporting individual resilience. Ultimately, Rachel's journey represented a sophisticated synthesis of personal experience, professional expertise, and comprehensive social understanding. Her work demonstrated the profound potential for transforming individual challenge into broader social impact, creating innovative approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential. Looking forward, Rachel recognized The ongoing potential for continued transformation. The National Center for Economic Empowerment represented more than an organizational initiative. It was a comprehensive mechanism for creating meaningful social change. Each new initiative, each research project, each professional collaboration represented an opportunity for continued exploration and broader social impact. The strategic future projection extended beyond immediate organizational objectives. Rachel envisioned a comprehensive approach to addressing economic vulnerabilities that would continue to evolve, adapting to emerging social and economic challenges. The potential for transformation remained infinite, bounded only by collective imagination and commitment to creating meaningful social change. As she contemplated the future, Rachel understood that her journey represented more than a personal narrative of recovery. It was a testament to the profound potential for individual resilience, institutional innovation, and systemic transformation. Each strategic initiative, each research project, each policy recommendation represented a step toward creating a more comprehensive, supportive, and empowering social ecosystem. The culmination of Rachel's transformative journey represented a sophisticated synthesis of personal resilience, professional expertise, and comprehensive social impact. Her trajectory from a moment of profound personal vulnerability to a platform of institutional innovation demonstrated the profound potential for individual transformation to create meaningful systemic change. Retrospective analysis revealed the complex mechanisms of personal and professional reconstruction. The initial moment of financial betrayal, which had once represented a point of maximum vulnerability, had been systematically transformed into a comprehensive approach for addressing complex economic challenges. Each challenging experience became a critical opportunity for strategic personal and professional development. The National Center for Economic Empowerment emerged as a testament to the potential for converting personal challenge into broader social impact. Institutional frameworks developed through the organization provided unprecedented mechanisms for understanding and addressing systemic economic vulnerabilities. Multidisciplinary approaches integrated psychological insights, economic analysis, and comprehensive support strategies to create innovative intervention models. Professional networks cultivated throughout the journey became critical platforms for continued innovation and impact. Interdisciplinary collaborative partnerships created opportunities for developing sophisticated approaches to understanding complex economic challenges. Each professional connection represented a potential mechanism for broader social intervention and systemic transformation. Technological infrastructure played a crucial role in expanding the organization's strategic capabilities. Digital communication platforms enabled sophisticated dialogue across disciplinary and geographical boundaries, creating unprecedented opportunities for comprehensive economic empowerment and support strategies. Policy development emerged as a primary mechanism for creating sustainable systemic change. Comprehensive work with legislative bodies resulted in innovative policy frameworks addressing economic abuse and personal financial empowerment. These policy initiatives represented sophisticated approaches to creating structural support mechanisms for individuals experiencing economic challenges. International collaborative initiatives expanded the organization's global impact. Research partnerships created opportunities for examining complex questions of economic vulnerability across diverse cultural and social contexts. These initiatives demonstrated the potential for creating transferable strategies for economic empowerment and systemic support. Educational initiatives continued to be critical mechanisms for broader social impact. Comprehensive curriculum development represented opportunities for examining broader questions of economic empowerment and personal potential. Each educational module became a platform for sophisticated social intervention and comprehensive support strategies. Philosophical inquiry remained a critical mechanism for understanding the broader implications of her work. Interdisciplinary research initiatives provided platforms for examining complex questions of personal agency, systemic challenge, and individual potential. Each academic exploration represented an opportunity for deeper understanding and strategic intervention. The personal reconstruction had become a critical dimension of her broader approach to social impact. What had begun as a process of individual recovery had evolved into a comprehensive strategy for addressing systemic economic challenges and supporting individual resilience. Professional expertise provided a critical framework for comprehending the broader implications of personal transformation. The counseling skills developed through years of supporting students through complex challenges became instrumental in creating sophisticated approaches to understanding and addressing systemic economic vulnerabilities. Technological innovation continued to be a critical component of the organization's strategic approach. Advanced digital platforms created scalable mechanisms for delivering comprehensive economic education and support resources. Each technological initiative represented a carefully designed approach to creating accessible support mechanisms. As the organizational trajectory continued to evolve, increasingly nuanced approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential emerged. Each research initiative, each professional project became an opportunity for comprehensive social exploration and strategic intervention. Ultimately, Rachel's journey represented a sophisticated synthesis of personal experience, professional expertise, and comprehensive social understanding. Her work demonstrated the profound potential for transforming individual challenge into broader social impact, creating innovative approaches to understanding economic vulnerabilities and individual potential. Looking forward, the potential for continued transformation remained infinite. The National Center for Economic Empowerment represented more than an organizational initiative. It was a comprehensive mechanism for creating meaningful social change. Each new initiative, each research project, each professional collaboration represented an opportunity for continued exploration and broader social impact. The strategic future projection extended beyond immediate organizational objectives. Rachel envisioned a comprehensive approach to addressing economic vulnerabilities that would continue to evolve, adapting to emerging social and economic challenges. The potential for transformation remained boundless, driven by collective imagination and commitment to creating meaningful social change. As she reflected on the comprehensive journey, Rachel understood that her narrative represented more than a personal story of recovery. It was a testament to the profound potential for individual resilience, institutional innovation, and systemic transformation. Each strategic initiative, each research project, each policy recommendation represented a step toward creating a more comprehensive, supportive, and empowering social ecosystem.